Here we are. Yes, we are live. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me and happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you. And I understand it's going to be a double Mother's Day for you guys soon, right?
Very soon in September. Yeah, we're
Okay.
kind of excited and, you know, looking forward to it.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. So you're going from one baby to two. Are you guys going to figure out what if it's going to be a boy or a girl, or are you going to have it be a
Yeah, we
surprise?
found it's going to be two girls. So, yeah, our little daughter's going to have a little sister. Very
Oh my
excited.
gosh. You're going
Yeah,
to have your own Elsa and your own Anna.
exactly. I think that's the best part.
Yeah, it
Age.
is.
Right.
um, and how old is your first daughter?
So Taeyeon is turning 5 on the 27th of this month.
Wow, so she's gonna really be able to be there for the
Yeah,
new
she's gonna be
baby.
raising the baby, I guess. So
Yeah,
let's all figure it out. Yeah.
that's so great. So, Juan, it's so great to have you here today. And I was just thinking back when we first met, which was almost 2 years ago in
Right.
Chengdu, China, right?
Mm. Yes. I
And we were both part of a festival, and we were staying in kind of a magical area with an historic town just, like a 30-second walk away.
mhm.
And so many students. And what was that was very fun. What memories do you have of that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the scenery was pretty unreal. Like when I landed at the airport, I've never been to Chengdu, so it's like 40-minute drive. It's like, where is this guy taking me? And then, went to like this pretty modern resort facility and like all this modern amenities, and then just like across the bridge, and then it's like different world. So yeah, that's only 2 years ago. It feels like forever ago though, because we don't do that anymore. We can't do those things anymore. So it's like one of
Exactly.
the latest memories that I have. I actually went back to Chengdu like that winter, I think the winter after
Mhm.
to do I played with their wind orchestra and um at the University of Sichuan Conservatory. So it was nice to be able to be back once, and I was looking forward to going back again the following summer. And then,
Right.
the whole thing broke. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So, Juan, can you just tell me about yourself? It could be whatever you want to tell about, like how your story about how you ended up in Oregon, or it can just be about what you think is important in life, or anything at all. Just tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about whatever.
Sure. So I'm a clarinet professor at the University of Oregon. I've been here for almost 4 years now. It's my fourth year teaching. Before this, I taught at Tennessee Tech University. It's about an hour from Nashville, Tennessee, and I was there for 6 years. That's where I got my first job after finishing my doctorate degree. I started fairly late. I started clarinet close to 15, and really started taking lessons when I came to the US around the same time. Went to the band. I sat in the very last chair, and I was kind of blown away by the sound.
Yes.
And it's like wonderful public school music program in Northern Virginia. And I've met a really great teacher who studied with very famous teachers in the past. So I trained me properly despite the late start. And then I went to college. I majored primarily math, but I also doubled music, and I sort of like found more calling to that as I moved along. So, but I didn't have like intention to do that professionally. Well into pretty much like my master's degree, I was still kind of thinking, I'm getting master's degree, but I never know what I would pursue professionally. I was also, prepared for law school and, different options. And then when I was finishing masters, I think that somehow I got really involved with the chamber group that I created and kind of got a taste of the real intense music scene. And from that moment, I knew this is what I wanted to do. Now, another thing is that my family is all in academia. My dad is a professor at university. My grandfather was a professor. So there's a lot of that in the family. So I think no matter what field I chose, I would have ended up in school. So it was kind of like a natural transition to pursue an academic career.
Mhm.
Except that like my field was rather unexpected. We don't
Yes.
have any real musicians in the immediate family, so everybody thought I would become like a math professor or something in science or things like that. But it's very nice because I have that kind of familiarity with what I already know as a lifestyle, but also it's like all the things you get to do. That's what I wanted to do. So it's a very happy marriage.
So what do you remember the moment? Was there a moment when you were like, I really like math, but maybe I could do music? Is there a moment when it just occurred to you,
I don't
wow, I
think
can
there's a
do.
singular moment, frankly, but it was more like in a math. It was more effortful. I was good at it, but like I would see these, friends and students who just, so natural, the things that they just connect, regardless of their effort. I mean, of course, they try. Same thing in music. Whereas in music, things were much more natural to me. Like things just, the progresses, the leaps that I would make. Of course, I had to, try, but it almost didn't feel like even trying because it was just there's so much momentum and just the genuine excitement and fun.
Mhm.
So it's like those natural intuition and those progress that makes your almost your effort easier. So
Yes.
with the same amount of effort. So it kind of like that's I think the transition that I experienced all through college undergraduate years. So it wasn't like a definitive moment, but it's like more like a you know
Now
way
this
of
is
life.
very
Yeah.
interesting because there's always this talk with musicians. Is there innate talent, or is it just hard work, or what's the balance? So you're kind of saying you were feeling that balance in math and music at the same time, and you were feeling a strong drive towards your innate talent with music and not necessarily with math. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah. So again, it's in a way it's very similar. There's a lot of hard work that needs to be done, regardless of talent or any kind of a natural musicianship, intuition. But I think they're kind of complementary. I think they complement each other, and sometimes I think through efforts, those intuition can be triggered or discovered. I think everybody has it in some degree, but I think for some people it's easier to find, and it's an advantage. In a way, it's kind of not fair. But also, I think if you are really driven, ultimately, I think you do discover them, and then you kind of hone upon it. It's not just simply like building from scratch, like on I think every step. Like we want to use as much of that natural intuition and musicianship as possible. I mean, my ultimate, I think the most powerful thing that we have is our intuition, really. And then when the music connects with it, that's when things are really powerful and engaging. So as an educator, I try to find that in the students. And some students, it comes so easy. I mean, I can see them right away. And some students, maybe it's not as immediate. And my primary goal is using all of these methods and pedagogy skills and things like that is not to like make them into machines, but really like use those to help the students discover the intuition. And
And
it may realize in different speed, different degrees, but I think that's really the core of what I'm looking for.
so you said something like there's something a spark, like you can create a spark to ignite intuition.
Absolutely, I think that's the most glorious part of the teaching, frankly.
And how do you do that? Do you feel almost like you're like a psychiatrist, like you look at the student and you take some time and try to figure out what is it that I could ignite with this person? Or how do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's again the process. It's different for everyone. And like I said, some students just know it. It's very natural and it connects. With some, may I have to verbalize and use more analogy or even almost like a scientific descriptions and process of the formation. And that's the thing. So sometimes you don't even need to talk about any of those, and just the body figures those out. And sometimes it's not the case. But so it's not necessarily a psychiatry, more like an observation and way to communicate. But I find that when it's successful, it's when I give them like a genuine interest to kind of follow, or discover. It's really extremely difficult to kind of have him drag like on each step, like do this without clear vision or like a goal in mind.
Mhm.
Just try to make it better. That's good, but I think that's really not enough for
Right.
for what we try to do.
I,
So again, if we have that sort of vision and kind of a hope of achieving the the highest state of musical intuition, and then I think generally it's been successful. I mean, again, it's different. Everybody has different, level of progress expectations,
Mhm.
but it's just definitely more exciting that way. Hopeful. Yeah.
That's so cool. You know, Juan, when you're talking, I'm just like flashing back at the first time I saw you play, and your playing is so um it's like so easy to relate to. It's so like kind of like creamy and then also so passionate and so direct. And I remember sitting in that audience with packed with people. Remember how many people were packed in there? It was crazy. They were like hanging over the balcony. Everyone is crushed on those like long benches, right, going up. And it was just totally silent, and you could come from nothing, and the whole audience was with you. What does that feel like when you're playing? What are you thinking about?
Well, first of all, that's such a high compliment, especially coming from you. So I don't know if I can meet that compliment. But yeah, it's just the engagement with the music, connection with the music at the moment. A lot of people, especially students, ask about have the performance anxiety and all these distractions and. That's a very real thing. I have anxiety too, but usually that kind of stops as soon as I start playing. I get very nervous up until I start playing, and like the waiting in the green room is the worst part, really. Yeah. But once I start playing, it's almost impossible to get nervous because I'm so like connected to the moment. And you sometimes you have to do that consciously, I think, just like really listen. I'm always like the analogy that I think, I don't know, Leon Flesch or somebody gave us, like you need three parts: the processing mind and the instruments, the performance aspect, but also yourself also in the stage and listening to you actively in real time. And just like overall you're kind of overseeing the whole performance in time and space. So if you're in that state, I think then you really are fully aware of course, all of your bodily and mind process, but as also what's happening in the space, in the hall, in the audience. And I think that's really where I want to be. It doesn't always happen. I think you get distracted and things happen here and there. So that's again the performances that I really enjoy, and when I think the performance is successful, regardless of the execution, things to happen, things like that. So yeah, I try to focus on that as much as I can when I play. And as far as what I'm thinking, yes, it's just like I'm actively sort of trying to get my musical ideas out, but I'm also observing in real time. So like there's almost a ghost of me in the audience. I'm playing for myself out there.
You know, that's interesting that you're saying that because I felt like I was inside your bubble when I listen to you. I feel like I'm inside your bubble with you. So that's very interesting. Do you think the way you talk about music, it's very unique. Do you feel like your mathematical training somehow is together with your musical philosophy? Does math come into it at all for you, or that process?
I've been finding more and more that to be the case, because when I was a student, people asked that all the time. Like you study both music and math; they're related as they are. Music theory, I mean, you look at it's basically mathematics. Modern 20th century, it's a mathematics. But that's more purely sort of like, it's different. There's numbers and the organization. As far as our innate musicianship, like the music, the phrasing, the sound that we create, it's so much more abstract. So I thought there was no connect. And then just like recently, as I'm teaching, I'm actually discovering more and more the way that I am thinking actually is very mathematical. And I can basically describe that in numbers, as far as like all of the connections of the sound in a given time. I mean, you can sort of plot the graph. I think in my mind all of that is being done, whether it's dynamic, the color, different overtones, just like all of that just is processed with certain mathematical organization. And it's helpful when I teach that I describe in terms of those sort of graphs. Like it's just easy to visualize and articulate. And again, I don't have to do that all the time. Sometimes it just we communicate through music, but sometimes we articulate in this way. That's good. And then even to the point where we discuss phrasing, and we discuss expression and just the form, and not like a formal analysis, but just like the form that's actually useful for when we perform. I think all of that, I'm organizing. It's much more structured way. Um, but that doesn't mean that I think I'm stuck in it. Because I don't want to. I want to go. I want to be more natural. Like I said, just intuitive in my playing. But to do that, I think that that training and the way of thinking is very helpful.
So you're balancing understanding the structure with your intuition, and you're kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, I think, like I said, they're very complementary. So in a way that sometimes the intuition helps you to identify the phrase.
Yes.
Like you don't need the musical analysis. You just know it. When you hear it, you know it,
Mhm.
and then you confirm with the theory that is right. And
Right.
sometimes the theory doesn't quite connect with the intuition, so I trust my intuition more in those cases. Sometimes I don't quite get it from the music, and it's helpful to analyze and use the theory, and it gives me actually, oh, now I understand, and do it. So I think they're related and they can really help each other. I think the danger is if you get too taken off it with just only one,
Right.
let's say just purely going with intuition. I mean, just you can end up being supremely unstructured and just maybe not always connect really with the intentions of the composer or what you're supposed to do. And then also you can get so obsessed with just the theoretical aspect, and you lose the sense of music itself. So I think
Mhm.
those are both extremely useful tool. Now, one, I think that intuition parting is so abstract and it's difficult to talk about, difficult to teach. Some people say it's not possible to teach those, but I think, I hope, I try to believe that it's possible to train that.
Absolutely agree with everything you're saying. This is fascinating. And Juan, I am so happy that we live only 45 minutes away from each other. So I know those plans we had to play together are going to happen. They're going to happen soon. And in the meantime, what an honor and pleasure to have you with us for a second summer at Inside Music Academy. And I wish you and Grace all the luck going forward as the new baby starts to um, get ready to come out. And I will talk to you soon. And thank you for spending a Sunday afternoon with us. And happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. It's a privilege, and thanks for having me. I'm greatly honored as well, and I very much look forward to playing with you, Jason. Some
Yeah.
great repertoire, for clarinet. It's my favorite collaboration. I mean, I love all sort of collaboration, but for clarinet, there's just so much music that I think just blends well with that, what we call the mixed chamber music, with the strings and piano. Also helps my wife is an active pianist, and we play together all the time. So we'll do some very soon. We
Yeah,
should do
we're gonna
the
do the
Tempest Fantasy.
Messiaen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Messiaen
Messiaen and
and Tempest Fantasy.
Canadian.
Yeah, right.
All that. That's so
Yeah,
good.
right. Okay.
Okay, bye bye,
All
Juan.
right. Have a
I'll
good
see
afternoon. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah.
you soon.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.